Welcome. My name is Nisha Sachnani. I'm the director of the program in drama therapy here at NYU, and it's such a pleasure to welcome you here into this space. You are going to be witness to trauma therapy as performance. It's a series of documented approaches that drama therapists use. However, not all of the approaches are solely taken up by drama therapists, and that's certainly the case with the form that we're going to be exploring here today, playback theater. All right, without much further ado, I'm going to pass this over now to Hudson River Playback Theater Company.
Muy buenos días. Me llamo Ricardo. My name is Ricardo. And lately, whenever anybody asks me that very benign question, how are you? I experience a moment of freeze. Because personally, things are pretty okay. My life is okay. But existentially speaking, my communities, people I love, the world is under great threat. And it gives me a great amount of fear. So I don't know how to answer.
I'm Aiden, and I have felt recently my day job, which is teaching math to middle schoolers, to be a wonderful form of escape. I love being there and talking about ratios and algebra, absolutely nothing else, and it's great fun.
Oh, numbers, patterns, and sequence and more. We're here together. That's enough. That's all I can take. My name is Mateo, and I work in higher ed. And these days, every faculty meeting is a tidal wave of panic and fear and anger around expression, rights, safety, dignity, employment.
Oh, dude, I'm hearing the storm coming and the black clouds and over there and then over here and then... Wait! Don't! Wait! Ah! Konnichiwa, Kanazawa Mizuho desu. Hi, my name's Mizuho. And my teenage daughter left for a field trip for 3 days this morning. And I woke up later and I started to do a makeup this morning and my cheek is missing. My brush is missing. My foundation is missing. And I did not know how to do my makeup today.
Excuse me? Where are you? My name is Joe, and in this space last night, I witnessed what the arts can do, what theatre can do, what beauty can do to hold the most intractable, painful realities of our times, and it was very deeply moving to see that. Good afternoon, everybody. Afternoon. We are Hudson River Playback Theatre +2 wonderful guests. And we're really delighted to be here, really grateful to Nisha and her team for inviting us and making this possible, bring us all together for an afternoon of stories from you, which we will reflect back to you. And this is our musician, Anne, who didn't get a chance to introduce herself. However, she always gets a round of applause, which I think. So, how many people here have seen playback theatre before? Most people, but not everyone. And for those of you who are seeing it for the first time, we don't have a script. We don't know what we're going to do, really, because we want to listen to you. We want to listen to what's important to you in this moment with these particular people in this particular place, and we will do our best to reflect to you what your story is. So I'll be asking some questions, making some invitations. If you want to respond, we want to listen. So we'll get to that in a minute. I also want to ask how many people are new to playback today? Okay, welcome. Very soon you'll see how this works. No one is ever put on the spot. It's always up to you if you want to respond. And we hope you do, because we're creating the show together. And if no one responds, we don't have a show. But that's never happened. It's been 50 years. It's never happened. So how many people here are NYU students? Okay, great. Well, welcome. We're in your space. Thank you for having us. It's great that you're here. And how many people are here from far away outside of New York City, let's say? Okay, wow. A lot of people. Where have you come from? Just call it out.
The UAE's coming.
From the UAE. Wow. That is, I think you're...
Lisa actually was a course.
Okay. Taught you a course. Okay, great. Who else is from very far away here? Ben, where from?
Australia.
Australia. Spain. Yep.
I'm originally from South Brazil, but I have it in Northwest and Major.
Okay, South Brazil to Northwest New Jersey. That's quite a change. Was there somebody else? Yeah. Okay, great. All right. Well, welcome everybody. The hands clip. Armenia. Wow. Well, we're a little United Nations here, but hopefully a bit more functional. So, my first question to you is just about today. Today is Saturday, a little bit milder weather, right? So a word or two about your Saturday so far. Yes. Pete?
I can finally have a late morning this Saturday.
Okay. So what do you usually do on a Saturday, in the morning when you get up?
It's just during weekdays now. I have to wake up at 6:30 to get to my job. So it's just like finally Saturday this morning I could.
A nice,
Yes.
late, slow getting up. And your name?
Dawe.
Dawood.
Mm-hmm.
Let's watch.
Saturday. Get into bed with me. Saturday. Let's snuggle. Saturday.
No, not yet. No. Not yet. Not time yet.
Saturday.
Something like that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Thank you. Somebody else, something about today so far? Yes.
My name is Michelle, and I would say ecstatic prayer. I'm a Kohenet, and a group of us do Shabbat morning prayer. We just started it, and it was 4 people on Zoom, and it was delicious.
Okay. Delicious prayer for Shabbat. And you're Michelle. Let's watch.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
You can hear me in there? Oh, I can hear you too. I can hear it. Yes, I can.
Yes.
Do you feel that? Do you feel that?
Yes.
Do you feel it? It feels so good. It feels so good.
Thank you, Michelle. That's okay. And I want to get one voice from over here before I ask you a different question. Somebody from over here, perhaps something about Saturday so far. Yes.
Today, I need to do groceries because I'm running out. So I only had like kind of like a stale croissant and like one egg, and I made it happen. I made a wonderful brunch happen for my partner and I with just like whatever was left, and so I felt very resourceful and kind of proud of myself.
Okay, resourceful with a stale croissant and an egg, and you had a great breakfast. And let's watch. Oh, so what's your name?
Andrea.
Andrea. Thank you.
Anybody home here? Anybody home?
What is?
Anybody here?
I don't know if that'll.
Oh,
Yeah,
I see
so
you.
here's the thing.
I see you.
These flowers are just not so.
Oh,
I don't know what.
oh, you're here.
Wait a second.
Oh, wait. Let's wait.
Oh, you're here.
There's more.
I can work with you.
Amazing. Darling, inhale. Morning,
Thank you, Andrea. Okay, so the title of this show is Stories of Our Times, and we are, as a couple of us referred to, obviously we are all living in an extraordinary time. For most of us, a very difficult time to witness what's going on in the world, and at the same time we have our individual lives, which may be just fine. So when I say that phrase, stories of our times, what comes to you on that spectrum? What's a feeling or a moment that you think of when you think of the stories of our times? Yeah.
Nostalgia for the better times in the past.
Nostalgia for better times in the past. Okay. And what can you say 2 or 3 things about what was better in your experience in the past? I had mother. I had my family here. Family here. Okay. Okay. So this is in your personal life that you're thinking that something was better before. Okay. It sounds like that's very tender for you right now. What's your name?
Cynthia.
Cynthia? Thank you. Let's watch.
I'll be missing you in all the old familiar places that my lonely heart embraces. I'll be missing you in all the old familiar
覚えてる？
So,
私とあなた一緒にいたよね。一緒にいたじゃん。覚えてる？一緒にいたよね。あの時。
Someone else, what is a story of our times within you, Deborah? I see your hand floating up.
Yeah. Being a Jew, witnessing the genocide in my name.
I think I know what you mean, but I want you to say just a little bit more. What is that for you, the witnessing the genocide in your name?
I feel like we didn't learn anything from the Holocaust. Yeah. That never again had a stipulation.
Never again had what?
A stipulation.
Okay.
It wasn't never again for anyone.
Right. Yes. And it sounds like that's deeply sad for you.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Just watch.
never again.
Never again. Yes.
Never again.
Never again. Never again. Never. Never again.
Never.
Never. Never.
Never.
Never. Never.
Never. Except.
Never.
Except in the case of.
No.
Except in the case of.
No exception. No exception.
No exception.
No exceptions. That is not who we are. That is not who we are. Oh my God.
That's not who we are. That's not who we are. That's not who we are at all.
No. Yes, we can.
Who are we?
Who are we? Who are we? Who are we? Who are we? Who are we?
Not in my name.
Not in my name.
Not in my name.
My name. Not in my name. Not in my name. Not in my name.
Yeah. Amen. We'll hear from one or two others in response to this question. And yes, sometimes stories go deeply into us, and it's good to take a breath or touch someone sitting next to you. We're here to listen to each other, and that's one way of holding each other and living the world the way we want it to live. So, someone else, stories of our times, what is that to you? Yes.
I would name it distance. This winter, I fly back to my home where my parents live right now, Beijing.
Beijing?
Yeah, and I realized like how quick we can take a plane, like just for like several hours to get back to a really like far away from home, and how quick we can come back and switch to another mode of my life. But the distances feel like far away and close, but also like close and far away at the same time. Like there are many feelings and thoughts I cannot and unable to share with my parents, and there are also thoughts that I am able to share with my peers here because this close and farness, and this is how I feel.
Yes. And what's your name?
My name is Ruo Chen.
Ruo Chen.
Yes.
Okay. So, and you're talking about close and far away in geographical distance, but also across very different cultures.
Yeah, like the distance between, yeah, geographically, and also the distance between our hearts, like each other, like the connection.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So there are things that you can't explain to your parents, and things that you can't explain to your friends here from her. Yeah.
Yeah, so there are like different ways of, we are so close.
Right.
And we're so far.
Yeah. You hop on a plane, but you can't really close that gap. Yeah. Thank you. Let's watch.
Here I go again. Security, boarding. Oh, I got the good lineups this time. But always going back and forth. Back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and... I don't know if I'd ever get to fully connect, but... Here I go. Security, boarding, tickets. Oh, I think that's my seat.
Oh, so good to have you here. Oh, why do you have to go back to New York? It's so far, and yet you feel so close in my heart every day. Going to work, I think, what is my daughter doing? Every day, sitting down to eat, I think, what is she eating? Every day, as I go to sleep, I wonder if she's still staying up too late, because I told her she needs her rest. Every day, my heart beats for her. Every day, it waits to feel her heart beating back.
お父さん、わかってるよ。Dad, I know you are there. And I know your heart beats for me. And I'm here and I feel your heartbeat. I'm also dancing like this. And you never know this about me. Do you know I can do this and I can do this, and you don't know me this way. But I am evolving and I am still, my heart came from you. So my home is everywhere. I don't know where I am going home. If I'm coming back home or going back home. And I'm just... My heart is contracting every moment, and I have to go with my heart.
Thank you. Did that reflect some of your story, Tan? Thank you very much. Thank you. So we're going to move on, do something a little bit different. Those of you who've seen playback and done playback are very familiar with this. I'm going to invite someone to come and sit with me over here and tell a fuller story, tell a longer, elaborate, tell us a bit more about something that you're thinking about right now that feels important, that you'd like to share with these particular people on this particular day. But before we do that, I want to invite you to speak to someone, introduce yourself to someone sitting near you, maybe that you don't know yet. Tell them your name and anything else you'd like to tell them. And then we'll come back together in a couple of minutes. Sorry to interrupt your conversations, but we will continue the conversation in a different way. So, who would like to come and tell us what it is that you'd like to see? Yes, please come.
Yes.
Okay, and I happen to know your name is Maria. Hey, and you are part of this department, right? Yeah, so this is kind of home ground for you.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so Maria, well, first of all, let me ask you to choose one of the actors who's going to play you. Mizuho, Ricardo, Aiden, or Mateo?
Ricardo.
Okay. And is this a recent story or a long time ago?
It's a long time ago.
A long time ago story. Okay, and where are we?
We're in 1907.
1907.
In Slovakia.
Slovakia. So you were not there.
I was not there.
I can tell. But somebody important to you was there.
My grandmother.
Your grandmother was there in 1907 in Slovakia. And this is a story that she told you?
This is the story of how I came to be.
How you came to be. There is no more important story than that in one's life. So tell us what happened.
She lived in a mountain village and she was very poor. And she got married at the age of 12. And a year later, her husband left for the United States. And she needed to make money.
And was her husband also very, very young?
He was a little older than she, probably 18.
Okay. All right. So she was left a 12-year-old bride needing to make money.
About 40 kilometers from her village was the town of Košice. And she went into service with a family there. The town square that remains there were 5 homes on the square. And they were all owned by Jewish families.
Was she Jewish?
She was not Jewish.
Okay. And you've been there?
I've been there.
Yeah.
And we don't know the name of the family.
Do you not?
But she worked for them for several years. And then at the age of, and saved money, and always described them as being incredibly loving. And they taught her how to cook, and they helped her save money so she could join her husband.
And where was he?
He was in West Virginia, in the coal fields.
Oh, okay.
And
so I have 2 questions. One is, what was her name?
Maria.
Maria. So you named for her?
Yes.
And what was she like in your imagination as a young girl? A word or two from
I knew her a little.
But when she was young, when she was before you,
she didn't have a formal education, but she spoke 6 languages.
Wow. So she was a very smart woman.
Yes.
And when you imagine her as a 12-year-old or 13-year-old bride, what sort of young girl do you think she was in your imagination?
Kind, hardworking, a dreamer.
A dreamer. And please choose someone to play Maria. Naomi.
Mizuho, please.
Hey. All right. So she works for this family. They're very kind. They help her raise money, save money to join her husband. And what happens?
Well, she travels to the United States. She has 12 children. My father is the 12th of 12. 9 live to adulthood. And over time, I've met a poet whose family lived on the square, a psychologist who I worked for, different part of my life, whose family lived on the square. Gabor Mate, the doctor, whose family lived on the square. So this was a very significant liberal pastoral houses right here. And I've always wondered if we travel in tribes across continents and oceans of time, if we keep finding each other over generations, I keep getting the opportunity to thank people for being here. Okay, to thank people who were part of it, who allowed my grandmother to come aside and come to our states, and hence you are here. So did she tell you the story? The story of, she did not tell me. My father told me the story. Okay, so you heard this from your father? Yes. Okay. And you knew her when? I was very little. When you were very little. And just a word or two about your memory of her as an older woman. Small. Beautiful, flabby arms. Okay. She could embrace you entirely with.
Right. Okay. So it sounds like what touches you about this is just the kindness, the support, the community that allowed this very young woman to fulfill her own destiny. Yeah.
And did I keep meeting those people, perhaps, that were
okay. You keep meeting, they circle back into your life, and you can express that gratitude. Okay. Alrighty. So this is Maria's story of generations of kindness. Let's watch. I think. Okay. Come.
Grandma, as I walk through life, I feel you still.
I know.
It's like you're with me. Your story is my story. You're a part of me. And I walk through life and I think about you as a 12-year-old bride with my abuelo, my grandfather. What was he like? What were you like? Where were you?
Okay, Lorraine, this is it. This is it. This is all we have.
Yeah.
This is you're gonna be okay.
You have to go.
Fuck, I know.
You have to go.
I know. I'm sorry. Are we trying for this?
I am just 12.
All right, we're strong.
Okay.
Still lucky and strong.
Right, me.
Yes. Okay. Right, I'll be at the coal mines. You got this.
I'm coming.
Try to find work in town.
I'm coming when I can.
All right. I need somebody who knows how to work. Who's ready? Well, hurry up. Come on. First, you take this and you put it in there. You're gonna have a strong arm. Show me how you can mix. Go ahead. Okay, see?
I can do this.
Not bad.
I'm gonna go do this house now.
Keep going.
I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do
You're doing such a wonderful job. Oh, thank you. You're making such a wonderful. Isn't she amazing?
Oh,
She's doing so good.
At 12 years old, she's doing the work.
my husband's waiting for me.
In West Virginia, breaking his back in a coal mine where she broke her back,
Yes.
working and finding a way with all of these people.
And they are so
people.
They are so optimistic people.
All of these people.
How's it going on your corner of the square?
Oh, it's going all right.
We're doing okay. How are you doing over there in your corner of the square?
Running.
Okay.
Sunday night was evening.
my grandmother gave birth. And then
People that got me food that you gave me that's working for you.
Good luck.
And thank you for wishing me all the nothing. You want me to
Again.
join my hobby.
And that was her story. Her story begat my story. And their stories begat your stories.
It looks so familiar.
I didn't look so familiar.
It's like we've done before.
Swear.
It's like we've been walking this
I
face.
swear. We walked in the same square.
Wait, are you Slovak?
Oh,
Wait, you look.
Wait, that's my cousin's cousin.
yes, I thought we did too.
What the square?
Out of square? Out of square.
Maria, her grandma makes a delicious soup. Oh my God, golden soup. I'll give you a resume. Hot, so good.
Why does this keep happening?
How does this keep happening? How does this keep happening? It's like through the ages, we are connected. My story connects to your story. And your story. And your story. And here, around the square, and we sit together. Together.
I just want you to have a good life. Oh,
All these stories together.
So, Maria, did that capture some of the meaning of the story for you?
Definitely captured the wonder that I feel.
The wonder that you feel?
And the grief, because most of those families died in the Holocaust.
Okay. So that's an untold part of the story.
Yes, it is.
Yes. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So we never know what stories we will hear and how they might touch us and touch our own story. And we just keep them inside. It becomes part of our story now, the stories that we hear. We don't forget those stories, but we go on to another one. So what is the next story? Who would like to come and tell us what you're thinking of now?
Yes, please come. Hello.
Hi, what's your name?
Sylvia.
Sylvia. Okay. And where does your story take place?
My story takes place over the last year.
Over the last year. Are you an NYU student?
A former NYU student.
Former NYU student. How many former NYU students are there here? I'm one too. Okay. So over the last year, and tell us what happens.
So I have had a really best friend in my life for around 10 years. This friendship has crumbled to a certain degree.
Okay.
Because of political differences.
Okay. Sylvia, can you choose someone please to play you? These are Ricardo's music. Sorry, Aiden and Tauber with a couple.
Aiding.
Okay. And so this friendship for 10 years has crumbled over political differences. So just tell us a little more.
So we were friends through theater. through art, and also we had a friendship before that as well.
Okay.
And we had sort of had dissipated our communication. There was not a direct break. There was no closure. It was just a mutual understanding that we would no longer be speaking.
Okay. Do you want to, let's say her name or make up a name for her?
I'll say M.
M. Okay. So you were friends through theatre and other things for 10 years. So from when you were fairly young, children, yeah. And then you both acknowledged that this friendship couldn't continue. How did that happen?
It was a mutual but silent acknowledgement of seeing each other's behavior online and in person, and kind of mutually deciding to kind of stop the active friendship. I will say, though, the current part of this story, leading me to why I'm thinking of this now, is I had found out yesterday that their mother was diagnosed with a terminal cancer. And I knew their family very well. So I had messaged them for the first time in a year yesterday.
Okay, so this is very current and very tender for you right now. So this friend who you've become estranged from, because you can observe from your sharing and so on that you're on different sides on a political issue, but right now you know that someone that your friend's mother is very ill. Yeah. So where does that leave you?
I had reached out to express my care that I'm still there, and sending love, even through our dissipated friendship.
And was that received?
It was received with a thank you.
Okay. Was that less than what you were hoping for? Or, I mean, do you think they felt it, your caring? Or was that a sort of perfunctory thank you?
I think it was exactly what I needed, actually.
Okay.
It was a point of contact.
Okay.
And it felt like the first acknowledgement of space in the last year, actually.
Okay. So somehow this tragedy might be a sort of healing between you, at least.
Yeah, I would say that.
Possibility.
I would say that.
Yeah, yeah. It's completely up to you, but do you want to say anything about what what that difference was about with your friend? You don't need to. It's just, you can bring it into the story or not bring it into the story.
It was disagreements on the complexities of the war in the Middle East.
Okay. And we know how complex that can be. Yes, how complex and fraught, and has been the reason for many friendships to falter at this time. It's one of the great sadnesses of it. Okay, so is there anything else important we need to know?
I'll say I'm a Jewish woman, and is not. But we grew up around lots of people and experiences.
Okay, so your life together was full of diversity.
Yes.
Yeah, and you both appreciated that.
Yes, I said that.
Yeah. Had. Okay, so we will see this Sylvia's story of division and sadness that might bring people together. Let's watch.
ground has opened up. There's a chasm here. And there's a reason for it. And I can see to the other side. And I remember when I was so far away. I remember when it wasn't so far away. I remember when it wasn't so far away. I remember when it was so far away.
The two of you are such good friends.
I know, I just get her.
Do you want to?
Oh, yes, I know this. Let's put on a show. We can put on a show about all the different things.
Yeah. You two have fun, but remember,
Yes.
as your mother,
Yes.
I wouldn't want you doing anything to this point. Go, have fun.
You're my hero, sister. I am many different things. I am an actor. And so, I change my face all the time. There you go, there you go. Who are you? I've never seen you before. I can be so myself with you. I can be so myself with you.
You were so great in that production. The two of you are such good little actors. It's so lovely. It gets to see you. Of course. I'm going to miss my daughters.
What?
My daughters.
Well, Lord.
So you know what's happening?
Keep hearing now.
You know what's happening out there?
I'm speechless.
Oh, we got to do something about this. We got to tell everybody we know that we've got to really change the whole mindset, don't you think?
Absolutely.
I should.
One cannot stay quiet.
Yeah, I'll be in touch. Definitely be in touch. Tell everyone you know.
I'm going to tell everyone I know. Because it's important to not stay quiet.
Okay.
So I'm going to tell everyone I know. And I want to tell everybody I know this has to be this way. Excuse me? Okay, so but what did you mean by that?
Why she posted this?
I mean, I don't think this is what to actually mean by that. Are you saying literally that?
You mean this?
This does not make sense.
That does not make sense.
It doesn't.
It breaks our hearts here when I see that.
Okay. Okay, fine. The ground has opened up. Okay, fine. Fine. We won't talk about it.
We won't talk about it.
In fact, we won't. You won't talk. We won't talk at all. We'll just create a line.
What's happening, Mom? No.
And just some bad news. Just some bad news.
I hate bad news. I hate bad news.
Just bad news. Just
When you
take a seat.
no, you take a seat. You really take a seat. So take this away. I shit Bigger. I can't. Seriously. I feel so far away right now, and I know I can't cross, but I want you to know that I care. I want you to know. I got something. Oh no.
Nice. We should. You know, when you get a nice gift, you say thank you.
Okay, with this.
But I can't see it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So, Sylvia, is there anything you'd like to say as we finish here?
Thank you. Yeah. Thanks, and definitely captured the energy of the emotions.
Thank you very much for bringing this story and trusting us with it. I mean, okay. We have time for one more story, and I would like to invite one of you from the QA, if you would like to, if there's a story there. If any of you would like to be a teller. Yes?
It's Colin. Sorry, stage crying from
What?
I'm still crying from
Right, we'll take a breath. Yeah. Yeah, we can feel that story and feel how it connects to our own story. And we can also keep listening. What's your name?
my name is Salma.
Talma? Salma.
Yeah.
Okay. And are you like here for a long time or are you here for a short time?
We're here till mid-May for studying.
Okay.
We study in NYU Abu Dhabi, but we're here for a semester away.
Here at in the NYU Drama Therapy? Awesome.
No, actually, we're in STEM. I'm in engineering.
Right.
My friend Nina here, she invited me. Yeah.
Okay. And I put you on the spot there when I invited you, but did a story actually come into your mind? Something you'd like to see?
Yeah.
Yes? Okay. Can you choose someone who's going to play you? Aiden, Ricardo, Mizuho, or Mateo?
Mateo.
And where are we in the story?
I'm in different places. So I grew up in Egypt, and my parents got divorced when I was 8 years old, and my dad is not really in my life. Like he just left. My dad is not really in my life. I just said sometimes not. So most of the time I grew up with a single mom. We didn't have a lot of money in Egypt, so she's a doctor. So she tried to look for a job in the UAE, and we moved there in 2016, I think.
And so how old were you? You were still...
So I think I was 12, 13 when I moved to the UAE. And then, yeah, I spent my life there, and usually it was only me, my sister, and my mom, and we didn't really have like a father figure in our life or a male figure except my grandfather and my uncle. Last year, my grandfather passed away, and I didn't really register it till way later. When I saw it in my mom's eyes, like it's like the only person that was left for her is like not there anymore.
And was he with you? And
no, he wasn't. He was in Egypt, but we were really close to him.
Okay, okay. And you saw how much that meant to your mother when she lost her father.
Yeah. And I feel like my whole life I've always had this guilt that I always want to do everything just to be there for my mom. And I didn't know what to do last year. I didn't know if I was going to be enough for her and my sister. But she's so strong. She never shows anything. So I think it's just a story between me looking at my mom and always being grateful for her, even if I can't really show it. But she's always there at the back of my mind.
Okay, so she's been such a strong parent for you all your life, and on her own, except for your grandfather who passed away as well. Yeah. So you're thinking of her now. You're very far away. Like we heard before about a mother and parents in Beijing, and I think others of us in this room have parents who are very far away, and you're sort of seeing this about.
This is my first time being this far away.
The first time being this far away. Yeah. And are you in touch with her?
Yeah, but because of the time difference, maybe we call like 10 minutes per day or something. So yeah.
Right. Okay. So we can just see a little bit of that, what it's like to be here and to be so far away from someone who's not only your mother, but sort of like a role model, someone that you're looking up to.
It's just mostly me always looking at her and thinking, like she's so strong that I want to do everything for her, but I know that maybe I'm not doing enough.
Not doing enough. Is she happy that you're here studying engineering? Yeah? And are you going to go back to the UAE?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So can you give us just a moment, what it might have been, what you and your mother might have been doing, before you, in your life in the UAE? Because I think many of us have not been there and can't really imagine, just anything that you can, a little moment that you remember with your mum.
I think one of my best moments with my mom was we were applying for universities, and NYU wasn't my first choice because we didn't know if I'm gonna get like a good scholarship or no, so we couldn't really afford it. So I got accepted into other universities, but then someone in my mom's work told her about NYU and told her, oh, she should apply and stuff. It's really nice. Maybe she can get a good scholarship. I applied last minute actually, and I didn't prepare at all. Like I applied maybe 2 weeks before the deadline, and I got in. And however, I didn't get the full scholarship. Like I got a specific percentage. So I told my mom it's fine. Like I wasn't really attached to a specific university. I just to go and get a good education. And then I told her I'm gonna decline the offer. And so I was gonna decline it the day before the deadline for acceptance, but she accepted it for me without telling me.
She had a vision for you. Yeah. She could be doing.
It's a good university. You're gonna do research. You're gonna travel. You're gonna do this and this. But in my head, I was like, this is a lot. Like really, I don't think it's a lot of money. Like struggling. And I told her I really don't mind. She's like, no. And she just accepted it, and I just gave. And I'll always be grateful for it because I'm really getting the best, I think, education here, and I want to graduate and give it back to her.
Give it to her, yeah. So I'd like you to choose someone to be your mama.
Misapo.
Okay. So we will see the story, a daughter's story of a faraway mama. Let's watch.
What can I do? Can I do? Can I do? I have to do more. I have to do more. You do so much. I have to do more. I have to do what? Okay, so applications. 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 I'll get maximum scholarship. I'll get full scholarship. You won't have to do anything. I'll do more.
She always works so.
So, what can I do? What more can I do?
This we can do this. I can do this part.
No.
And you.
No. That was no. NYU, you've been accepted. It's too expensive.
Accept is too expensive. Accept.
No, I can't do it. I can't
Just
do
go,
it.
go.
Accept!
Mom, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're doing, you do too much. I can't do it.
I want you to be free and get a good education and don't worry about me.
I raised my daughter well, and she's known what she's doing regularly. Just
Go! And go! Go!
Welcome to NYU. This is your physical engineering course.
Okay, what do I have to do here?
Civic engineering course is.
What do I have to do?
You have to do
You
your
have
work.
to do so much. I'm doing so much.
I know!
Doing so much. But how are you doing? What can I do for you? Do you want me to order food from here?
I'm
Do you want
good!
me to send you an Uber from here? Do
Just
you want me to pay that bill online from here?
your
Okay.
Sorry.
You sleep. I'll stay awake. Don't.
I'm doing my part as these girls' mom. And there's something
I have to.
I wanna do
I have to.
than this.
I have to. I saw it in your eyes. I have to. I have to.
do it! Keep your life! Go!
This whole time, I thought I had to just keep doing. Otherwise, if I didn't, then something. Listen, you want me to be your daughter. You want me to be a student. You want me to be in the world. You want me to be alive. Thank you, by the way. I am being so grateful. Still only being a little bit guilty, but mostly grateful. Thank you.
When you do your part, I can do my part too.
I will be the best daughter, sister, engineer, human, earth being I can be. Okay? All right, so talk to you for 10 minutes tomorrow.
Yes.
Love you.
Love you. Thank you, Salma. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that story even when you weren't expecting to. So we're coming to the end of our time together, and I'm going to ask Anne to play a little think back music. And it's just a time for us to remember different voices that we've heard, the stories that we've heard, and then we will do one more thing to reflect on those stories together. So let's listen.
Oh, my little ex-friend. It is me, Mr. Croissant. You know what they say. You know what they say in France, Mr. Eggfriend.
Tell me again, I want to hear.
You know what they say for breakfast. You know what they say.
Tell me.
For breakfast, 1 egg is enough. She's done wonders with us. That wizard!
I don't get it. My friend is like missing class because she's going far away and then coming back. I don't know what.
Far away.
Yeah, why not just stay right here?
Yes, I know. Like,
We're like, this is cool here, right? It's like, why
sing out. Just sing out.
you know, I wish I understood. I just don't get it.
I know. She's always like this.
Yes.
I miss her.
Hey, too. Yes.
It's time to wake up. Oh, I don't get to go out today. It's Saturday. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You don't wake you up, and I love it. I love being loud in the morning. But today I must stay quiet.
You see that? See those people over there? We're gonna get rid of them.
Someday.
Yeah. That little square that they have.
Someday they'll all be gone.
Maybe it'll be my house. Maybe it'll change the name. Or just
erase them. Just erase them.
There's my family. They're so far away. They're so far away. I remember when they were back with me in Egypt, but I am so proud of them. I'm so proud of my daughter and my granddaughters. I hope you can hear me. I am so proud of you. I am so proud.
So I thought I had to take her for brunch, but she just cooked this amazing breakfast this morning. And I'm kind of glad that she can be so creative, not in all kinds of way. And just the face that she showed me when she said, "Here's our breakfast." Wow. She's so cute.
Where do you want the water bottles for the encampment?
Yeah, good question. This is my first time doing this.
Well, it's okay. All are welcome here. So, the Shabbat services are not in our name square.
Okay.
We're going to be holding some denominational prayers.
I can pray in my own language.
So we just need to organize.
Right.
Yes.
We can make this happen together,
Yes.
right?
I don't know how to do this. I'm
It's okay. All you have to do is keep showing up. Keep showing up in the name of peace. Don't engage with counter-protesters. Just hold space.
Okay.
While we're here, could I tell you all about my grandmother?
Sure.
Okay.
There's space for all here. Just remember Remember that we're not alone in this.
Yeah.
We're in this together.
Remember?
My hand just looks like my grandmother's.
Look, those people are waving.
Oh,
And
hey!
they're beeping over here.
Hi!
Ooh, someone's bringing more food. Yes.
Okay,
yes.
yes.
Do not engage the counter protesters, and just remember, not in our name, and never again
Never again.
means never again.
Never again.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your stories and for listening. And there are many, many stories here that we did not hear. If you're thinking of a story and you didn't get to tell it, I hope you will tell it to someone soon. Thank you again. So there will be a 10-minute break, and then you are very welcome to come back for a Q&A discussion. There's some food in the lobby, and we'll see you again soon.
Welcome back, everyone. We have an opportunity now to have a conversation about playback theater. Again, my name is Anisha Sichinani, director of the program here at NYU, the Drama Therapy Program. I'm going to invite everybody up here to just introduce themselves again, and perhaps a connection to playback theater or any connection to playback theater. And I'll perhaps add then that I've enjoyed and appreciated and practiced playback theater since I was introduced to it when I was training as a drama therapist in the 1900s.
Hello, I am Juno Van Welden. I'm a second-year student in the NYU Drama Therapy Program and a founding member of the brand new NYU Playback Theater Troupe.
Hi, everybody. My name is Andrea Cordon Academy. I am also a second year at the Drama Therapy Program, and I am also a founding member of the brand new theater troupe.
Hello, my name is Ben Rivers. I first came across playback theatre in Tasmania, Australia, and for the last decade I've been practicing playback mostly in Palestine and Egypt and other neighbouring countries.
Thank you, Ben.
I'm Jo Salas. I've been doing playback theatre since we first invented it.
I'm Matteo Hundici, and I am a founding member of Hudson River Playback Theatre, along with Joe here, and too many years to count. I also, as I mentioned, I work in higher ed. I teach expressive arts and social work.
I'm Aiden Kohler, and I don't remember when I joined you all. Was it 7 years ago or 8 years ago? I don't know. Sometime in the past. It's been great.
My name is Ricardo Perez Gonzalez, and I have been practicing playback since 2005, so that's 20 years this year, right? And I'm with Big Apple Playback Theater here in New York, founded by Hannah Fox, who some of you know. And I also work out in LA with LA Playback and do many ad hoc groups online and across the US.
Right. My name is Mizuho Miho Kanazawa. I have learned playback theater from Jana-san here at NYU in 2000. So I have been doing playback theater for a long time, and part of Big Apple Playback Theater, had a Sakura Playback Theater, and I'm now privileged to teach students here for the Playback Theater troupe at NYU. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Anne Belmont. I've been a playback musician on and off since 1978, 76, when they invented it.
Hi everyone, my name is Atmaria Buric. I'm also a second-year drama therapy student here at NYU and one of the founding members of our troupe.
What a generous and loving audience. Terrific there. All right, well, we're just going to open this up with a few questions to reflect on playback. And members of our NYU team are going to kick us off with a few questions, but then there may be other comments and questions that come up in the room or just here amongst this esteemed panel. So I'm going to pass this mic back over to you, Juno, to keep... Oh, would you like to? Yes, of course.
I just want to acknowledge that Jonathan Fox is here. This whole thing came from his vision, which various of us joined him in immediately, but I just want to acknowledge that Jonathan is here.
It feels like the right thing to do, whether or not to acknowledge John is sitting right there. Okay, now I'm going to pass it on for a few questions. Here you go, Judah.
Hey, hi. So to the troupe and the others on the discussion panel, I'd love to start out by hearing how you would express what you consider to be the purpose of playback theater.
Defenses.
Gosh.
Okay.
But I don't know. I don't think I can answer that question, but I'll say something that I find really magical about playback theater is I was just talking about this the other day. I took a math class at NYU here a long time ago, and I remember the teacher saying, sometimes the mask knows something that you don't. And when we rehearse together, we tell each other stories, and very often our peers will play something back to me that I'm like, did I say that? Did you know that? I didn't even say that out loud. So as an audience member, I really appreciate that about playback is there's there's some kind of understanding that we all have with each other that comes out when you say I'm going to really listen to you and then I'm going to creatively tell you what I heard, but then the story takes on its own thing, So I find that really magical about playback.
Would anyone else like to speak to that, the purpose of playback theater?
I do have one or two thoughts. One being it's kind of like a Swiss Army knife, right? It can be multi-purpose. So the functional part of my brain is it depends on what community I'm going to, right? What we've talked about in terms of what we want this particular show to explore, right? So there's that piece of it kind of more literally. And then for me, it serves the purpose of reminding me of my humanity, right? And I think that may sound rather high-flung, but the act of listening deeply to other people's stories is what else is there aside from basic needs, right? Food, shelter, clothing. All of those are important, but connecting with each other begins with stories. And so going back to that root, sitting around the fire and listening is for me enough.
And it certainly feels like it's responding to what our previous Surgeon General had been speaking about with regards to a crisis of social connection.
Yeah.
Isolation. Don't see any.
Can you speak a little to the role of ritual in playback theater? Of ritual. The role of ritual.
Thank you, because that's actually what I was thinking. What is the purpose? Can you hear me with that? So, always multifaceted, always multidimensional, because our lives, our bodies, our beings, our communities are such. The ritual process, the intentional gathering, creating receptive space for deep listening and for embodied expression is essential. And you can read amazing things by some of the people here in the room and embodied by all practitioners when they're doing playback theater well, that the ritual holds the space where we can connect and kind of transcend some of those differences, strengthen empathy, and of course we can break the rules because it's improv.
Yeah, and yes. I would just say it's completely fundamental and central to what we do. Playback theatre is a ritual, and this very simple stage setup, the kind of demeanor of the performances, of the performance, and the sequence and time, it creates something. Ritual might not be the best word for it, but we've never found the right word, or if there's a better one, that any audience responds to, whether they've seen playback, whether they've even seen any theatre before. They respond to that sense of ritual it's raised, it's not ordinary, it's informal, but it's not casual. And I've just seen audiences from, very children with very extreme emotional disturbance to groups of people who've never seen any theatre of any kind before respond to that and say, oh, that's somewhere I can put my story. And it's so fundamental to what we do that even in the most, we could have a rehearsal with 4 people. And when we get to share stories, we will set up the ritual space. We will respect the ritual, all the aspects of it, even in that very intimate, informal setting. I want to bend. What do you have something to say there? Just thinking of the word.
I'm thinking more generally, as you've all experienced, we don't know, we can't predict what will happen in a performance. We don't know what stories will be shared. So in contrast to devised theatre, where there is a script and we can predict, we know what will unfold, mostly. Playback theatre is filled with uncertainty. And so the ritual is very important because it helps to create a container which is comforting for the performers, the conductor, but more importantly for the audience. And within that container, then people do feel more willing to open up and share. And
I'm going to pass this down right to the book. I think
something I've been thinking a lot kind of ties into this question of ritual and container. And as someone who came into this program as a psychologist with no theater experience, I'm always thinking about the responsibility and ethics. And as we know, theater doesn't have a written code of ethics, but we saw a lot of responsibility in approaching the stories. So I'm very curious about how do you see that part, because a lot of stories can be emotionally overwhelming. And as you said that right now, we don't know what will happen. There's a lot of uncertainty. And if you could just share your thoughts around that, how do you ensure that we're being responsible towards the audience, that the containment is there, and maybe also from the role of the conductor, because I feel there's different questions that could be asked. I mean, how do you approach that part as a conductor, as a performer, and as a musician as well?
I say something briefly, but I want to hear other people. We do have a code of ethics, and it's quite comprehensive. And I think all of us feel our ethical responsibility very strongly. And there's methodology behind what we're doing. It's not random at all. We're highly experienced, and we know what we can do and what we can't do, what we don't want to do, in order to create an atmosphere that's ethically responsible and kind and enhancing people's humanity, as Ricardo said. So I would say there's a strong ethical awareness, and yes, we don't know what the stories will be. We don't know when strong emotion will be present, but we do know how to accept it and how to contain it and keep it safe.
I just want to, just a small caveat, nothing's perfect. So sometimes people can have really unexpected reactions to things. And it's really, there's really nothing we can do about that. Something that's like sort of out of our expectations, our experience. It just, we got to acknowledge that these things do happen.
One thing I'll add to that is that I think it's really important for every playback practitioner to just acknowledge that it's not therapy and we're not therapists, even if you are a licensed therapist or like a licensed psychodramatist, like licensed whatever it is. Playback is something different. The healing piece of it is so important, and holding ourselves accountable in this way is very important. But for me, I have to remind myself, and also sometimes fellow practitioners who are psychologists in their daily life, like there are boundaries that we have to put up. I remember we've done several gigs with either psychodrama for drama therapists or for therapists, and people will come up and be like, "Well, this is therapy, and when it's just important to be like, not quite." I'm not saying that's a bad thing, that there's a therapeutic quality to it, but it's just really, really important to remember that's not what we're doing. Is that fair to say?
Yeah. I would add perhaps unless it is what you're doing, in the sense that, for example, there are playback companies, I belong to one in Montreal, where we would use playback theater as part of a group process over 12 weeks in an adolescent treatment unit. But the playback structure served as a container for a group process. It was very different than perhaps presenting a performance once for public that's going to show up once. Very different intention, very different experience, in which case I really appreciate that demarcation where you may come away with the therapeutic benefits of this work, but it isn't going to replace something that could provide ongoing support or ongoing care. That said, you did speak to a code of ethics. I wonder if you can elaborate a bit on the quality of that, or examples of that, things that you're thinking about, either in terms of how you're interacting with each other or with the audience, and if it's not, if this isn't layering the question too much, how you balance that with some of the aesthetic sensibilities that you're weaving in, the aesthetic and the ethical weaves that you are walking in this work. Would anyone care to comment on that?
I'm not going to. I have an example, but I think Joe can probably very much speak to the code. We were doing a show where somebody told a story. This was social workers. They told a story where violence had been visited onto their person, right? In a very traumatic way. They'd been shot. And so this is one example of something that we talk about in a lot of playback companies, is you don't need to show the moment of abuse, the moment of violence, or the moment of trauma directly, right? You don't want to do that at the risk of re-traumatizing, and also in a way because it actually pushes the aesthetics, right? The tellers told the story. So taking that moment, using some motion, using scarves, I was the teller's actor in that moment. I took a scarf, wrapped it in a certain way. The person who was visiting that violence on me interacted with the scarf. We did this dance with this red scarf that showed the violence, and it elevated the art, right? So
I think it's important that we don't put those two things at odds necessarily, right? That to be trauma informed or to try to take care of people means to name the art in some way. You can use it to elevate.
Yes. I'm hearing a yes is clap, and there might be comments from the audience that may be connected to what you're hearing. No, you're shaking your head. It's wonderful. Okay. Would anyone else like to comment?
Oh,
Yes,
just right. You pretty much said what I was going to say. It's just I was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was that the one? Oh, toppling. The reason that it elevates it as art is it just makes it more universal. So more people can relate to it rather than a specific incident. Because everybody knows that emotion that most people of violence being directed at you, or maybe the opposite. So the in the Code of Ethics, I think there are 9 or 10 clauses about many different aspects of practice, but the first one is about respect, and that's a foundational value that we operate with respect for the teller, for the teller's story, for our fellow performers, for the audience, for the community, for our colleagues. And that's such a simple thing to say, but it really guides everything we do. So the teller comes to the teller's chair, and what they offer is what they offer. We call it the face of the story. And it's a respectful practice not to dig and probe for something more than that, to indicate that, okay, we know your story is really about something else. What happened when you were a child? Just we don't do that. We don't. That's not our job. So that's a both an ethical and an aesthetic choice. That we're in the world of storytelling. We're not in the world of therapy, except, as you say, in a therapeutic context, which is totally valid. But yes, I don't see any conflict between the aesthetics and the ethics.
There was something when I started however many years ago that was with Hudson River Playback that you all said to me that I found really helpful was, especially when someone's talking about something maybe that's hard to talk about, people tend to give you the metaphor, like they often say something like, I carried this with me, or this was weighing on me, or I left this behind. And it's sort of like a gift, like you can play that out. You don't have to make anything more of it.
We have time for just a couple of comments or questions from the audience, and we'll pass one of these mics to you. Yes, David. Well, thank you, William.
First, I just wanted to thank everybody for this afternoon and for the presenting this and giving this to us as a little gift. The question is about training. I wonder if the practitioners could talk a little bit about the training process to be a performer, conductor, musician as part of a playback troupe.
Which one do you?
So well, I'll start us off by saying that people all over the planet feel called to listen and to respond. And there are so many ways to do that that's meaningful and artful and ethical and improvisational and fun and moving and empowering. And so, whether it's truly attributed to Jonathan or not, but, playback needed about citizen actors, right? That we're being of service from that kind of community level first. And so at that level, anyone can jump up, anyone could join a workshop, anyone could volunteer to help act something out. And then, of course, with the ethical responsibility and respect, if you want to really develop this craft, then that does require some learning. And, people in this room have, taught workshops and taught training courses, and there's established curriculum and, accredited schools of playback theater in many countries across the globe. And so then the next step would be to pursue that and eventually get the experience working with an ongoing ensemble and really understanding the ensemble nature of this work and deepening those practices, and then stepping out of your comfort zone and going to different trainings and workshops and conferences in order to get kind of inspired and cross-pollinated, ultimately, completing an established course of study that can culminate in accreditation or leadership roles, and then in that is the exploration of acting, music, conductor, and company life. So there's a lot of pieces to the puzzle.
You give a little example of what the training involves in terms of what are you actually studying?
Sure. There's these dimensions of performance, which is about being embodied and listening and being spontaneous. There's learning the ritual. There's conducting and kind of finding ways to communicate and express through the body, through music, through the work of the ensemble. And then, there's always a social dimension in playback theater. So we're making art, we're building community, and we're conscious all the time of what's spoken and unspoken at that societal level. And so some of the courses and some of the workshops and trainings pertain to that, which is building our knowledge as practitioners. What is it that we bring into the room? What do others bring into the room? Where are the stories that are hope-giving and life-giving? Where are the stories that are related to trauma and violence and oppression? And how to respond effectively in those ways that are artful and ethical and spontaneous and upholding the ritual. And so it starts to create a whole, it's the methodology and the kind of the playback theater way, I'll say. And then usually when people feel inspired and called to this in some way, they'll move forward and attend a bunch of workshops or take a formal training program, attend a conference, or kind of sign up for things at the different schools around the world. And part of that also involves dialogue with elders, but dialogue with people who have use this method and developed it over time and can offer feedback. So there's room for kind of self-evaluation and group evaluation and process evaluation.
Sure. So there's something called the Center for Playback Theatre. There's a website, you can have a look. Here's an actual diploma program, 4 levels of training, starting with introductory, and then intermediate, then advanced, and then a culminating residential course, and then postgraduate courses. So not everyone does that or has to do that. Most people learn in a combination of taking formal workshops and being at a company and learning by doing, learning person-to-person oral tradition. But yes, there are all these topics. Conducting is the toughest, but acting, learning about social justice, group process, music. We study. We have courses on all of these topics, and there's also a fair amount of written material that you will use as texts as well.
I was just going to plug the New York School of Playback. There's one of the schools that's accredited around the U.S., so there are resources here in the city that you can make use of, along with the center. RD Center.
I just wanted, I got the feeling you wanted to hear more specifics about, what you might practice. And there are different forms, which you saw today. There's, the people that are studying playback, I'm sure know about this from musical, but, there's the short forms, and then there's the story form, and there's a 3-part story. I don't know if you think back on the show, you saw 3 parts, then you saw something called a narrative V, which is narrated by one of the actors. And then there's the chorus form, where everybody sort of goes to, there's all these different forms. Yeah.
That's right.
Thank you, David. I wondered, is there another comment or question? I just want to leave room for that in case there is. There was some. Oh, Philip, right over here. Good. Few minutes. Wait, that was Bria.
Hi, I'm a first year and I'm in the Playback Theater Club here. And I noticed something during the performance and I was wondering if it was intentional or a happy accident. And that was, scenes that depicted like loss or distance, one of the troupe members would step out and then three would, was that just a coincidence or was that like on purpose for a reason?
We do everything on purpose.
So if I recall correctly, I think that was a fluid sculpture. And in a performing team, there may be 3, 4, 5 people. Not all performers have to be in every single fluid sculpture. And I think when I stepped out, we're working in service of the story. And so our job collectively, telepathically, is to think, what does the story need to be embodied and honored and reflected? And, if that's enough, then that's enough. The fourth person doesn't have to add on the finishing touch all the time. And so there will be variations in those forms. It's kind of what I referenced before. You learn the rules and you break them, right? It's kind of true improv and art making. Right, so that if there could be just, one person embodying something, or it could be everybody all on stage. And so then, even if a fluid sculpture is usually everybody goes in one at a time, any one actor can choose to step out and just know that the story is being fulfilled by the team, and that we have shared responsibility, including with the musician and the conductor, that the story is being honored and fulfilled, and it doesn't have to be full cast production every moment.
Yeah. Thank you. Dawe, quick husky. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Dawe, and then I just have a really curious question. It's about going back to the ethics and social justice. I was just wondering, because I assume people on the stage, you might be at different playback companies. Were there successful ways to build this energy for the ensemble to kind of, talk about what is the social justice, how do you self-educate and really make that be a core part about, in the rehearsals or training per se. So when we're doing the performance, we could, we're more kind of acknowledging that. And then, I'm just curious this question to know, me maybe that how I can also bring those into spaces that I'm in, to really let us, when we're touching hard stories, that we are making sure when we're doing our rehearsals, we take that part seriously, and then it's not like, oh, we're just doing a performance per se. And I'm just curious if there's successful experiences that you could share with us too. Thank you.
I think this is very much part of the training, though. Although social justice is included in the formal curriculum, it's also part of the ongoing training of the group to be prepared for certain performances, work with certain communities. And one of the ways we can prepare is by educating ourselves as troupe members. So if we're working with a specific topic, to make sure that we know as much as possible about that topic before we do the performance. And of course, there are different ways to learn. We can read, we can watch documentaries. A very good way to learn and prepare is to invite people from the community that we will be working with to come into our rehearsals and to share their stories so that we can become familiar beforehand. I can say from my own experience working in Palestine, the troupe that I trained were Palestinian actors, but they came from more privileged communities compared to the communities that we were working in. We were working in refugee camps, in Bedouin communities, in very remote farming communities, and the actors hadn't had direct experience. They hadn't experienced the level of brutality that these communities lived under. And for these communities, they found it slightly off-putting to have strangers coming through for an hour, listening to their stories and then moving on. And in some way, this relates to the question of ethics. What is our relationship, our ongoing relationship to the communities we work with? And so one of their requests, the requests of these communities, was that we would spend extended periods of time in the community itself, living with them, working with them, joining them in protests, helping to rebuild their schools and their homes that had been destroyed by the Israeli army, helping to replant olive orchards that had been burned down by Israeli settlers. They wanted the actors to experience those atrocities directly and to join them in relationship. And this, of course, became part of the preparation, part of the training, so that when we came to a performance, the actors knew from personal experience exactly what the tellers were speaking about. When someone spoke about their sheep being stolen by settlers, the actors knew which flock they were talking about, which hillside they were describing. So I think part of the preparation, part of the training must include the development of a very deep relationship with the communities we work with, one that extends beyond the period of organizing and performance. It must include follow-up and hopefully some kind of ongoing connection. In the case of this troupe, we worked with these communities for 2, 3, sometimes 4 years. And even now, the Freedom Theatre in Palestine is continuing to work with some of those communities 10 years later.
Thank you for that question. We'll take one more here, and then we'll start bringing this to a close. Thank you, Williams.
I'm curious about the self-reflect and like group reflection like after the show, because I feel like this is really like a high-level listening and response like activity, not only a performance but more than the performance, I feel like. And I wonder, like everyone have good day or bad days, you know, like, and so yeah, how we like reflect as a group or reflect ourselves, how we like make a progress, how we improve, like in this form, like in the process.
Sure.
We go to the pub. If possible. And then we talk through the show, you know, what worked, what didn't work, and it's usually pretty kind of collective, you know. What did we do that worked? What did we do that didn't work so well? What might we do differently? Rather than you screwed up or I screwed up or it's at least what hasn't around. I mean, it's a creative process over a glass of wine. And then usually we come back to it, something we want to work on in the next rehearsal. So we very deliberately come back to, there's always unexpected things, and the next time we can, we will explore that in action.
I was going to add that we don't always go to a pub, but as part of the ritual, the performing team does need to come together as soon as possible just to be with each other, to be present with that experience, to reflect on any themes that can then funnel into, yeah, we really need to work on that, or wow, we really need to do some research and we need to process that in our next rehearsal through our own personal stories, even through role play and other methods. And but we're tuning into themes. We're looking back at kind of what we envisioned the performance to be like and what actually happened, what emerged, some of the surprises or any kind of unfinished business, and just these narrative threads that happen. We know when playback is happening well, playback theater is happening well, things emerge and the connections are made. And so a lot of times we're celebrating that, the fact that a lot of time and effort go in. And I will say for developing companies and for larger groups, there may only be 5-6 person performing team on stage, but every member of the company, every member of the Trooper Club is a watcher. And you could take notes, you could keep track of some of the stories, and offer feedback on some of the forms. And so there's this continual exploration that happens.
Yes, please.
So I also wanted to add that sometimes there can be a lot of heaviness after certain enactments and performances. So devising your own kind of personal ritual to let that go, so you're not carrying it back to your spouse, for instance. My boyfriend has lots of stories he could tell about me carrying stories to our story. And I did also just want to add one thing to Ish regarding the question of social justice in playback. One, it's like super important who is in your company, right? Just making sure that your company itself represents the communities that you're working with, to Ben's point. And the learning is also crucial, right? In Big Apple, we used to have people, which Dawei is actually a part of, we would have people take a very certain anti-racist course. So we all kind of had the same analysis. And I do want to say, I always thought that playback theater was founded on the principle of social justice. I feel like it's just part of it. And that opinion was not shared like 15 years ago. Some of us who'd been at it for a while, it was kind of surprising for me when I was like, oh, we're not all on the same page about this. And I'd have to say, that's changed remarkably in the past 15 years that I've been a practitioner. And so getting on the same page about it with who's there, making sure that you're not just all the same in your company, and continuing to add to the voices of change in the playback theater community and being like, no, actually, this is what we're doing right now. It's okay. We'll do it together. Come on.
Good deal. Thank you for that. I feel like that was also it was reflective of the journey I went on with my own exposure and training and practice in playback theater, thinking about how do we weave in, an attention to power and difference in this work, but also really appreciating how, you referred to this particular performance as a performance oriented around the stories of our times. And that could mean just about anything, couldn't it? And you've responded with a ritual for our times, speaking to the value of playback theater and the purpose of being able to meet people and taking quite a risk in meeting people with whatever story may emerge. It is quite a risk, isn't it? It's taking a risk in a society to be able to listen to one another and to meet each other somewhere. You don't know if you'll meet them. You don't know. But you're still going to try, So I want to just invite, there's a lot more that we could talk about here. You've talked about doing playback theater well, and you've talked about the threads that are woven throughout the stories, and there's much more to unpack in our attempts to make sense of the stories of our times and this ritual for our times. I wonder if we could end actually with just words and comments, just words actually, from the audience, a word that remains with you as you sit with what's unfolded here over the last couple of hours. Could you just call it out?
Respect.
Lineage. Respect, lineage.
Authenticity.
Authenticity.
Accountability.
Accountability.
Solidarity.
Solidarity.
Mosaics.
Mosaics.
Leaving.
Leaving.
Leading.
Weaving. Thank you.
Dignity.
Dignity.
Connection.
Connection.
Community leadership.
Community leadership.
Reflection.
Reflection. Any words from up here?
Listen.
Listening.
Gratitude.
Gratitude.
Humanity.
Humanity.
Legacy.
Legacy.
Release.
Release. There's all of these are wonderful words, and any one of them would have been terrific to end on, but we're going to go with release. Going to stop here. Thank you all so much. Thank all of you.